It's been a while since I posted one of these about actually using the gems. Like, you guys need to get, when you do your morning process, you need to read more positive information. You just need to read more motivational, inspirational stuff and then actually use it, is the thing. You guys that don't have values, you guys don't have a set of values, you don't have a guiding light, you don't know which way to go, right? The two gems, the two most useful gems that I can positively think of for changing how you deal with adversity. The first one is the world is not a window, the world is a mirror. That's the first one you guys need to understand. When something happens to you where you have an emotional stress issue comes up in your life, you have two choices. You can either do accountability or avoidance. That's why we talk about this all the time. That's where that whole concept came from, is this one quote and using it on repeat over and over and over. You can either project externally and you can focus on a bunch of things, or you can say, what does this mean about me? What did I do incorrectly? What did I do wrong? How could I change this situation? So the first piece is analyzing that you should focus internally instead of externally when something happens. Then the second is the serenity prayer. Accept the things I cannot change. The courage to change the things I can and the wisdom to know the difference, right? So once you shift internally, right? Once you stop being a deflector and being a victim and going, oh, it's all this stuff, and just complaining about everything external, quickly assess if emotions are internal monitoring systems, they're notifications that you need to think about what's going on in your life. You need to stop seeing those as negatives. You need to start seeing those as positives. It's a big shift. And you do that by saying, the world is not a window, the world is a mirror. It's not, I don't need to look at outside, I need to look inside. Once you do that, and you can start doing that over and over and over, what does this mean about me? What does this mean about me? What does this mean about me? Then you enact the serenity prayer. You go, okay, there probably are two pieces to this. There probably is an external piece, and that's probably something that I can't control. Why don't I focus on the things I can control? Try to figure out the wisdom piece, which is what the difference between those two things. And then immediately start actually controlling the things that you can. And going, okay, what does this mean? How do I change this behavior? How do I get a different response next time in my life based on handling something differently? Then you stop worrying about the external piece. Then you do an assessment of what is the external piece. You can worry about it for a second, as long as you accept it. You go, okay, here's the things that are bothering me externally. This person did this. This person behaved this way. I didn't appreciate it. Okay, well, can you change that or not? There still is a little bit of control that you have in that situation. Sometimes the things that you can control, the courage to control the things you can is, I probably need to speak to that person and say, hey, I would like this to go differently next time. Can we do this way? Then you go right back into solutions instead of being problem-oriented. Most of you guys are wasting time proving so many things wrong that you're forgetting to come up with solutions and prove things right. When you prove everything wrong, you just keep going backwards. When you prove things right, you keep moving forward. That's a positivity and a growth mindset. Is these are not bad things that happened. I don't crumble when adversity comes. I use these things as opposed to push the game forward. I learn from every experience. You go back to the concept of the obstacle is the way, right? These are not bad things. These are things I need to get over so that I can go on to the next learning lesson in my life. Once I hurdle this obstacle, I will be given another one. Every time I hurdle that thing, it's one more rep in a positive direction of growth of my life, of understanding self-mastery, and understanding how to operate better in the world with other people. Does that make sense? You gain clarity. You get better at communication. You get better at collaboration. You stop looking at everything negatively. You start going, oh man, this is just a thing like this between me and a person. It just needs me to solve it like an adult. And on the other side of this, I will grow. They will grow, we will grow together. And then at the end of the day, when we're talking about another person being involved, a big part of the acceptance thing is they are where they are. You can't change how they're going to see things and how they're going to behave all the time. You can try your best and then you let that part go. That's their journey. Most of the time when we enact the serenity prayer, it's because it's us with somebody else doing this. And we want to force our control on them. Did you notice how I said there's a small piece you can control, which is saying something to the person instead of keeping it all internal? But you cannot expect their reaction to the thing that you give them to always be good. Sometimes it's still going to be negative. And then you move on with that and you go with that with what you will. You got to figure that out from there. Hit me up if you need anything. Use gems. Guys, don't just have quotes all around your house. Don't have them on your whiteboards and not use them. Do you hear how I'm speaking about those? I use those regularly when something comes up at work. We do it all the time in the leadership. Me and the person that runs this business with me, when something comes up and we're frustrated and annoyed, our first natural reaction is to go to be external. And then we stop and we go, where did we fail? That's ultimate accountability instead of avoidance. Oh no, not me, is all ego. Instead we go, where did we fail? What could we have done better? Where did we fail with this person? Where did we fail with communication and the steps of delegation? Where could we have been better to alleviate some of these effects? And again, sometimes we have an employee and it doesn't matter what we do. No matter how much accountability we take, they're not willing to take any. And that's when we part ways. That's the part we can't change. That's the part we accept. Maybe they're not willing and able to grow at this moment in their life. We did everything we could. We looked at our piece exhaustively, and they just won't listen. And that's fine too. I used to be someone that wouldn't listen. Hit me up if you need anything. Use the gems, use the quotes. Start harnessing some of these things and using them on a daily. Something I'll tell you guys is, if you don't use the wisdoms that you get, you really won't learn from them. It will just be these things that you hear in the morning and you don't take them out. Apply, apply, apply. Why do you think I'm always talking about wrapping up in a journal and starting with a journal? Because I set an intention in the day, then I try to do those things. I won't do them all. At the end of the day, I have to look back and go, man, am I being accountable to these things that I wrote down? If not, I need to write it down again and I'll work on it tomorrow. And you just keep doing that daily. Hit me up if you need anything.